Well, joining us now is Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey. Mr Hockey, how surprised were you by this figure of $60 billion?
Kelly, I am stunned at the numbers that are being bandied around by the government. And what it means for everyday Australians is that you'll have to, for many years to come, work harder, work longer and for less pay. And your bills will be bigger and you'll pay more tax ultimately. This government is drunk on spending, and every generation of Australians is going to have to pay a very significant price for it.
OK, you say you're stunned by that figure. What would have been a fair deficit to run?
Well, a fair deficit is where you actually are controlling your spending. This government has lost control of its budget, Kelly.
What about a figure, though,
That's what's most alarming. Well, you pluck a figure out of the air. We have no idea. No one has any idea what the real numbers are because the government is changing them every day. I mean, the fundamental point is this. The government spent $80 billion more since the last budget. So they've gone on a spending spree of $80 billion. That doesn't include $43 billion for the networking of the nation. It doesn't include the money for Rudd Bank. It doesn't include money for infrastructure. There is no end to the spending of this government.
Okay,
and what it effectively means... Sorry?
Spending is one thing, but they are losing $200 billion in revenue as well. It's okay to say this when you're sitting on the opposition benches, but is Mr Swan right when he says that we are still far better off than most Western budgets?
Well, we are better off because when we were in government, we left this mob with no government debt. We left them with 4% unemployment. We left them with significant net assets and a surplus budget. Now, I'll just say this. Why is it that every time Labor gets into government, we see higher unemployment, more debt and big deficits?
Okay,
and, you know, governments, Kelly, governments can make recessions worse. Every recession in Australia has been caused by an external factor overseas. Every government can handle it in different ways. When the Asian financial crisis hit Australia, we did the right thing. We expressed confidence. We focused on the job. Australia did not go into recession.
Okay.
But other governments have caused us a recession that is far worse than what it should be.
OK, well, put yourself in the job you want as Treasurer. A Robin Hood budget. You had to fix things now. Would you support that kind of an approach?
Can I tell you, this Robin Hood stuff, you know, it's fairyland stuff. I mean, if anything, we've got the Sheriff of Nottingham using a damn big credit card and going on a spending splurge. The problem is that you know, that doesn't touch the sides. They can tax the rich as much as they want. But ultimately, every Australian family, every Australian household is going to have to pay for what is the largest deficit in living memory.
OK, just quickly, opposition, the suggestion of these superannuation measures, will you oppose them or support them?
Oh, look, Kelly, there's been so much speculation. The government is so focused on spin. We have no idea what's going to be announced next budget night, but whatever it is, unless there are real and hard decisions across the board, they're meaningless. It's just the thin edge of the wedge. They can start to soak the rich, they can have these initiatives on super and so on, but ultimately the debt is going to be so big for Australians that every Australian is going to pay for a very long period of time for Mr Rudd's largesse.
OK, Mr Hockey, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Kelly. Thank you.